Ale by William Henry Davis, read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. Oh, what a merry world I see before me through a quart of ale. Now if sometimes that men would laugh, and women too would sigh and wail, to laugh or wail's an easy task for all who drink at my ale cask. Life is a shade, death wears the flesh, but a quart of ale puts flesh on me, and gives me power then to outgrin that ugly grin at death, when he doth as some passing shadow seem, whereas 'tis life is a thin dream. Now do I hear thee weep and groan, who hath a comrade sunk at sea? Then quaff thee of my good old ale, and it will raise him up for thee. Thou think as little of him then, as when he moved with living men. If thou hast hopes to move the world, and every effort it doth fail, then to thy side call Jack and Jim, and bid them drink with thee good ale. So may the world that would not hear perish in hell with all your care. 1 quart of good old ale, and I feel then what life immortal is. The brain is empty of all thought, the heart is brimming o'er with bliss. Time's first child life doth live, but death, the second, hath not yet his breath. Give me a quart of good old ale. Am I a homeless man on earth? Nay, I want not your roof and quilt. I'll lie warm at moon's cold hearth. No grumbling ghost grudge my bed. His grave, holds up my head. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
And So Today by Carl Sandburg, read for LibriVox.org by Scotty Smith. And so today they lay him away, the boy nobody knows the name of. The buck private, the unknown soldier, the doughboy who dug under and died when they told him to. That's him. Down Pennsylvania Avenue today the riders go, men and boys riding horses, roses in their teeth, stems of roses, rose-leaf stalks, rose-dark leaves. The line of the green ends in a red rose flash. Skeleton men and boys riding skeleton horses. The rib bones shine, the rib bones curve, shine with savage, elegant curves. A jawbone runs with a long white slant. A skull dome runs with a long white arch. Bone triangles click and rattle. Elbows, ankles, white line slants. Shining in the sun, past the White House, past the Treasury Building, Army and Navy buildings, on to the mystic white Capitol dome. So they go down Pennsylvania Avenue today. Skeleton men and boys riding skeleton horses, stems of roses in their teeth, rose-dark leaves at their white jaw slants. And the horse laugh question knickers and whinnies, moans with a whistle out of horsehead teeth. Why? Who? Where? The big fish eat the little fish. The little fish eat the shrimps. And the shrimps eat mud, said a cadaverous man with a black umbrella, spotted with white polka dots, with a missing ear, with a missing foot and arms, with a missing sheath of muscles singing to the silver sashes of the sun. And so today they lay him away, the boy nobody knows the name of, the buck private, the unknown soldier, the doughboy who dug under and died when they told him to. That's him. If he picked himself up and said, I am ready to die, if he gave his name and said, my country, take me, then the baskets of roses today are for the boy. The flowers, the songs, the steamboat whistles, the proclamations of the honorable orators, they are all for the boy. That's him. If the government of the Republic picked him saying, you are wanted, your country takes you, If the Republic put a stethoscope to his heart and looked at his teeth and tested his eyes and said, "You are a citizen of the Republic and a sound animal in all parts and functions. The Republic takes you." Then today the baskets of flowers are all for the Republic. The roses, the songs, the steamboat whistles, the proclamations of the honorable orators, they are all for the Republic. And so today they lay him away, and an understanding goes. His long sleep shall be under arms in arches near the Capitol dome. There is an authorization. He shall have tomb companions, the martyred presidents of the Republic, the buck private, the unknown soldier. That's him. The man who was war commander of the armies of the Republic rides down Pennsylvania Avenue. The man who is peace commander of the armies of the Republic rides down Pennsylvania Avenue. For the sake of the boy, for the sake of the Republic. And the hoofs of the skeleton horses all drum soft on the asphalt footing. So soft is the drumming, so soft the roll call of the grinning sergeants calling the roll call. So soft is it all. A cameraman murmurs, "Moonshine." Look, who salutes the coffin, lays a wreath of remembrance on the box where a buck private sleeps a clean, dry sleep at last. Look, it is the highest-ranking general of the officers of the armies of the Republic. Among pigeon corners of the Congressional Library, they file documents quietly, casually, all in a day's work. This human document, the buck private nobody knows the name of, they file away in granite and steel, with music and roses, salutes, proclamations of the honorable orators. Across the country, between two ocean shorelines, where cities cling to rail and water routes, there people and horses stop in their foot tracks, cars and wagons stop in their wheel tracks, faces at street crossings shine with the silence of eggs laid in a row on a pantry shelf. Among the ways and paths of the flow of the Republic, faces come to a standstill. 60 clock ticks count. In the name of the boy, in the name of the Republic. A million faces 1,000 miles from Pennsylvania Avenue stay frozen with a look, a clock tick, a moment. Skeleton riders on skeleton horses, the nickering high horse laugh, the whinny and the howl up Pennsylvania Avenue. Who? Why? Where? So people far from the asphalt footing of Pennsylvania Avenue look, wonder, mumble. The riding white-jaw phantoms ride high-yee, 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 high-yee. The proclamations of the honorable orators mix with the top sergeants whistling the roll call. If when the clock ticks counted 60, when the heartbeats of the Republic came to a stop for a minute, if the boy had happening to sit up as Lazarus sat up in the story, then the first shivering language to drip off his mouth might have come as, "Thank God," or "Am I dreaming?" or "What the hell?" or "When do we eat?" or kill 'em, or "Was that a rat ran over my face?" or "For Christ's sake, gimme water, or "Blub, blub, blue, blue," or any bubbles of shell-shock gibberish from the gashes of no man's land. Maybe some buddy knows, some sister, mother, sweetheart. Maybe some girl who sat with him once when a 2-horned silver moon slid on the peak of a house roof gable, and promises lived in the air of the night, when the air was filled with promises, when any little slipshoe lovey could pick a promise out of the air. "Feed it to 'em, they lap it up. Bull, bull, bull," said a movie newsreel cameraman, said a Washington newspaper correspondent, said a baggage handler lugging a trunk, said a 2-day vaudeville juggler, said a hanky-pank selling jumping jacks. "Hokum! They lap it up," said the bunch. And a tall, scar-faced ball player, played out as a ball player, made a speech of his own for the hero boy, sent an earful of his own to the dead buck private. "It's all safe now, buddy. Safe when you say yes. Safe for the yes men." He was a tall, scar-faced battler, with his face in a newspaper, reading want ads, reading jokes, reading love, murder, politics, jumping from jokes back to the want ads, reading the want ads first and last. The letters of the word job, J-O-B, burnt like a shot of bootleg booze in the bones of his head, in the wish of his scar-face eyes. The honorable orators, always the honorable orators, buttoning the buttons on their Prince Alberts, pronouncing the syllables sac-rif-fice, juggling those bitter salt-soaked syllables. Do they ever gag with hot ashes in their mouths? Do their tongues ever shrivel with a pain of fire across those simple syllables, sac-rif-fice? There was one orator people far off saw. He had a gunny sack shirt over his bones, and he lifted an elbow socket over his head, and he lifted a skinny signal finger, and he had nothing to say. Nothing easy. He mentioned 10 million men, mentioned them as having gone west, mentioned them as shoving up the daisies. We could write it all on a postage stamp, what he said. He said it and quit and faded away, a gunny sack shirt on his bones. Stars of the night sky. Did you see that phantom fade out? Did you see those phantom riders, skeleton riders on skeleton horses, stems of roses in their teeth, rose leaves red on white jaw slants, grinning along on Pennsylvania Avenue, the top sergeants calling roll calls? Did their horses nicker a horse laugh? Did the ghosts of the bony battalions move out and on, up the Potomac, over on the Ohio, and out to the Mississippi, the Missouri, the Red River, and down to the Rio Grande, and on to the Yazoo, over to the Chattahoochee, and up to the Rappahannock? Did you see 'em, stars of the night sky? And so today they lay him away, the boy nobody knows the name of. They lay him away in granite and steel, with music and roses, under a flag, under a sky of promises. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Benevolence by Gerald Griffin. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. A youthful pair, by virtuous love made one, two fond hearts yoked by that sweet unseen chain that doubles every joy, divides each pain. Doth the sun look a lovelier sight upon? Aye, let them laud love's holiness as they will, its infelt thrill to heavenly bliss allied, in the rapt visions of poetry purified. It is earth-born, cold, selfish, sensual still. Oh, it is in the wide, benevolent feel, the limitless expanse of heart, embracing within its undistinguishing circle all, from the insect to the fellow pilgrim chasing each lonely affection from the heart. We steal of heavenly love some faint memorial. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Catharine by William Henry Davis. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. We children every morn would wait for Catharine at the garden gate. Behind school time her sunny hair melted the master's frown of care. What time his hand but threatened pain, shaking aloft his awful cane. So here one morn we two did wait for Catharine at the garden gate. To Dave I say, there's sure to be some coral isle unknown at sea, and if I see it first, 'tis mine, but I'll give it to Catharine. When she grows up, says Dave to me, some ruler in a far country, where every voice but his is dumb, owner of pearls and gold and gum, will build for her a shining throne, higher than his, beside his own, and he who would not list before will listen to Catharine and adore her face and form. And Dave went on, when came a man there, pale and wan, whose face was dark and wet though kind. He coming there seemed like the wind, whose breath is rain yet will not stop to give the parched flowers a drop. Go, children, to your school, he said, alone, for Catharine is dead. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Challenge by Sterling A. Brown. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. I said in drunken pride of youth and you that mischief-making time would never dare play his ill-humored tricks upon us two, strange and defiant lovers that we were. I said that even death, highwayman death, could never master lovers such as we, that even when his clutch had throttled breath, my hymns would float in praise undauntedly. I did not think such words were bravado. Oh, I think honestly we knew no fear of time or death. We loved each other so. And thus, with you believing me, I made my prophecies, rebellious, unafraid. And that was foolish, wasn't it, my dear? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An extract from A Coiner of Angels by Alfred Noyes, read for LibriVox.org by Timothy Ferguson. Will Shakespeare's out like Robin Hood, with his merry men all in green, to steal a deer in the Challicot wood, where never a deer was seen. He's hunted all a night of June, he's followed a phantom horn, he's killed a buck by the light of the moon, under a fairy thorn. He's carried it home with his merry, merry band. There never was haunch so fine, for this buck was born in elfin land, and fed upon sops in wine. This buck had browsed on elfin boughs of rosemary and bay, and he's carried it home to the little white house of sweet Anne Hathaway. The dawn above your thatch is red. Slip out of your bed, sweet Anne. I have stolen a fairy buck, he said, the first since the world began. Roast it on a golden spit, and see that it do not burn, for we never shall feather the like of it out of the fairy fern. She scarce had donned her long white gown, and given him kisses 4, when the surly sheriff of Stratford town knocked at the little green door. They have jailed sweet Will for a poacher, but squarely he fronts the squire with, "When did you hear in your woods of a deer? Was it under a fairy briar?" Sir Thomas he puffs, "If God thought good my water butt ran with wine, or he dropped me a buck in Challicot wood, I wot it is mine, not thine." "If you would eat of elfin meat," says Will, "you must blow up your horn. Take your bow and feather the doe that's under the fairy thorn. If you would feast on elfin food, you've only the way to learn. Take your bow and feather the doe that's under the fairy fern." They're hunting high, they're hunting low, they're all away, away, with horse and hound to feather the doe that's under the fairy spray. Sir Thomas he raged, Sir Thomas he swore, but all and all in vain, for there never was deer in his woods before, and there never would be again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Courage Defined by Joanna Bailey. Read for LibriVox.org by M. mleigh. The brave man is not he who feels no fear, for that were stupid and irrational, but he whose noble soul its fear subdues, and bravely dares the danger nature shrinks from. As for your youth, whom blood and blows delight, away with them, there is not in their crew one valiant spirit. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Divine Mistress by Thomas Carey. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. In nature's pieces still I see some error that might mended be, something my wish could still remove, alter, or add. But my fair love was framed by hands far more divine, for she hath every beauteous line. Yet I had been far happier, had nature that made me, made her. Then likeness might, that love creates, have made her love what now she hates. Yet I confess I cannot spare from her just shape the smallest hair, nor need I beg from all the store of heaven for her one beauty more. She hath too much divinity for me. Ye gods, teach her some more humanity. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Fame by Gerald Griffin. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Why hast thou lured me on, fond muse, to quit the path of plain dull worldly sense, and be a wanderer through the realms of thought with thee, while hearts that never knew thy visiting sweet, cold souls that mock thy quiet melancholy, win their bright way up fortune's glittering wheel, and we sit lingering here in darkness still, scorned by the bustling sons of wealth and folly. Yet still thou whisperest in mine ear, the day may be at hand when thou and I, the season of expectant pain gone by, shall tread to joy's bright porch a smiling way, and rising not as once with hurried wing, to purer skies aspire, and hail a lovelier spring. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
General Review of the Sex Situation by Dorothy Parker. Read for LibriVox.org by Rob E. Brown. Woman wants monogamy. Man delights in novelty. Love is woman's moon and sun. Man has other forms of fun. Woman lives but in her lord. Count to 10 and man is bored. With this the gist and sum of it, what earthly good can come of it? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Girl's Faith by Lucy Carolyn Smith. Read for LibriVox.org by Czandra. No two leaves above us waving are quite like in form and hue. No two flowers in equal measure hold the blessing of the dew. Nothing is on earth repeated, all is special, all is new. So of all the hosts of lovers, now and in the days of yore, loving deeply, loving lightly, loving less or loving more, none have loved, I hold it certain, quite as you and I, before. Hearts have beat, but not as ours did when this hope upon us broke, all our former life, mere dreaming, till to consciousness we woke, in a world anew created by a little word each spoke. not as ours, for that was needed, what belongs to us alone. Just the years we two have counted, just the sorrows we have known, just your strength and just my weakness. Love, our love is all our own. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Hymn by William Duke. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. But yield yourselves unto God as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God. Romans 6:13. My heart the world forsake, and every earthly toy. The Lord of all thy portion make, and in him all enjoy. May sensible delight, corrected and refined, a thirst of nobler joys excite, and urge the lingering mind. Should ardent love impel and actuate my soul, still may celestial fires prevail, and every thought control. Should glory stimulate, and daring deeds propose, that only fame I'd emulate, to triumph in the cross. Or should my yielding powers acknowledge pleasure's sway, I'd think of sacred streams and bowers, and sweets that ne'er decay. Should soaring science me her votary avow, my only excellence should be Christ crucified to know. Should wealth my mind impress with the desire of more, in Christ the fullness I possess of heaven's exhaustless store. With all that nature craves fully from thence supplied, no aching want my bosom heaves, no wish unsatisfied. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Inscription for the Ceiling of a Bedroom by Dorothy Parker. Read for LibriVox.org by Rob E. Brown. Daily dawns another day. I must up to make my way. Though I dress and drink and eat, move my fingers and my feet, learn a little here and there, weep and laugh and sweat and swear, hear a song or watch a stage, leave some words upon a page, claim a foe or hail a friend, bed awaits me at the end. Though I go in pride and strength, I'll come back to bed at length. Though I walk in blinded woe, back to bed I'm bound to go. High my heart, or bowed my head, all my days but lead to bed. Up and out and on, and then ever back to bed again. Summer, winter, spring, and fall, I'm a fool to rise at all. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Interview by Dorothy Parker. Read for LibriVox.org by Rob E. Brown. The ladies men admire, I've heard, would shudder at a wicked word. Their candle gives a single light. They'd rather stay at home at night. They do not keep awake till 3, nor read erotic poetry. They never sanction the impure, nor recognize an overture. They shrink from powders and from paints. So far, I've had no complaints. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Last Buccaneer by Thomas Babington Macaulay. Read for LibriVox.org by Ananda Samudhram. The winds were yelling, the waves were swelling, the sky was black and drear, when the crew with eyes of flame brought the ship without a name alongside the last buccaneer. Whence flies your sloop, full sail before so fierce a gale, when all others drive bare on the seas? Say, come ye from the shore of the holy Salvador, or the gulf of the rich Caribbees? From a shore no search hath found, from a gulf no line can sound. Without rudder or needle we steer, above, below our bark dies the sea fowl and the shark. As we fly by the last buccaneer, tonight there shall be heard, on the rocks of Cape de Verde, a loud crash and a louder roar, and tomorrow shall the deep with a heavy moaning sweep the corpses and wreck to the shore. The stately ship of Clyde securely now may ride in the breath of the citron shades, and Severn's towering mast securely now flies past through the sea of the balmy trades. From San Jago's wealthy port, from Havana's royal fort, the seaman goes forth without fear, for since that stormy night not a mortal had sight of the flag of the last buccaneer. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Leather Bottel, read for LibriVox.org by stepheather. May 24th, 2023, Bangalore, India. 'Twas God above that made all things, the heavens, the earth, and all therein, the ships that on the sea do swim, to guard from foes that none come in, and let them all do what they can. 'Twas for one end, the use of man. So I wish in heaven his soul may dwell, that first found out the Leather Bottel. Now what do you say to these cans of wood? Oh no, in faith they cannot be good. For if the bearer fall by the way, why on the ground your liquor doth lay. But had it been in a leather bottel, although he had fallen, all had been well. So I wish in heaven his soul may dwell, that first found out the Leather Bottel. Then what do you say to these glasses fine? Oh, they shall have no praise of mine, for if you chance to touch the brim, down falls the liquor and all therein. But had it been in a leather bottel, and the stopple in, all had been well. So I wish in heaven his soul may dwell, that first found out the Leather Bottel. Then what do you say to these black pots 3? If a man and his wife should not agree, why they'll tug and pull till their liquor doth spill. In a leather bottel they may tug their fill, and pull away till their hearts do ache, and yet their liquor no harm can take. So I wish in heaven his soul may dwell, that first found out the Leather Bottel. Then what do you say to these flagons fine? Oh, they shall have no praise of mine, for when a lord is about to dine, and sends some to be filled with wine, the man with the flagon doth run away, because it is silver most gallant and gay. So I wish in heaven his soul may dwell, that first found out the Leather Bottel. A leather bottel we know is good, far better than glasses or cans of wood. For when a man's at work in the field, your glasses and pots no comfort will yield, but a good leather bottle standing by will raise his spirits whenever he's dry. So I wish in heaven his soul may dwell, that first found out the Leather Bottel. At noon the haymakers sit them down, to drink from their bottles of ale nut brown. In summer too, when the weather is warm, a good bottle full will do them no harm. Then the lads and the lasses begin to toddle, but what would they do without this bottle? So I wish in heaven his soul may dwell, that first found out the Leather Bottel. There's never a lord, an earl, or knight, but in this bottle doth take delight. For when he's hunting of the deer, he oft doth wish for a bottle of beer. Likewise the man that works in the wood, a bottle of beer will oft do him good. So I wish in heaven his soul may dwell, that first found out the Leather Bottel. And when the bottle at last grows old, and will good liquor no longer hold, out of the side you may make a clout, to mend your shoes when they're worn out, or take and hang it up on a pin. 'Twill serve to put hinges and odd things in. So I wish in heaven his soul may dwell, that first found out the Leather Bottel. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Man with a Grudge by Sarah Hammond Palfrey. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. There once was a man who bore a grudge. Stoutly he bore it many a year. Beware, said the parson. He answered, Fudge. Well it becomes me, never fear. Men for this world, and saints for heaven. Too much of meekness shows a fool. My loaf shall rise with a livelier leaven. Give as you get is a good old rule. The longer he bore it, the more it grew his grudge as he trudged along, till in sight of a pearly gate he drew, and he heard within it a wondrous song. The shining porter said, Walk in. He sought to do so, the gate was strait. Hard he struggled his way to win. The way was narrow, the grudge was great. He turned in haste to lay it down. He strove to tear it away, to cut, but it had fast to his heartstrings grown. Oh, wait, he cried, but the door was shut. Through windows bright and clear he saw the blessed going with their Lord to sup. But Satan clapped on his grudge a claw. Hell opened her mouth and swallowed him up. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Martha or Mary by Caroline Atherton Mason. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. I cannot choose. I should have liked so much to sit at Jesus' feet, to feel the touch of his kind, gentle hand upon my head, while drinking in the gracious words he said. And yet, to serve him, O divine employ, to minister and give the Master joy, to bathe in coolest springs his weary feet, and wait upon him while he sat at meat. Worship or service, which? Ah, that is best, to which he calls us, be it toil or rest, to labor for him in life's busy stir, or seek his feet, a silent worshipper. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An Ode by a Lady by Charlotte Lennox. Read for LibriVox.org by Bailey Meyerhoff. 1. Ah, why, my love, that pensive air? Why dost thou droop with secret care? Big tears fall silent from thy eyes, thy bosom heaves with frequent sighs, and from that dear, that much-loved face is banished every smiling grace. 2. These cares, these griefs should all be mine, didst thou for greater ills repine. But though we feel the storms of fate, though various woes around us wait, yet love is ours, the smiling power, can fortune's fiercest rage endure. 3. In me he reigns without control, possesses all and fills my soul. In my fond breast no wishes rise, but those the charming God supplies. What can my hope or envy move, who seek no other wealth but love? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Plays by Walter Savage Landor. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. Alas, how soon the hours are over. Counted us out to play the lover, and how much narrower is the stage allotted us to play the sage. But when we play the fool, how wide the theatre expands. Beside, how long the audience sits before us, how many prompters, what a chorus. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Poise by Amy Bonner, read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. I must step from star to star amid the shadowed planets that hang in the profound deepness of bottomless space, with thin clouded draperies filming about my feet in eddies of motion. My path is as wide as the pageantry of worlds that fling themselves out in the dance of fettered motion, and I shall stride as though all were still. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Revelations by Amy Bonner, read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Crystals of light, like raindrops, beat down about my head, and I kneel low to receive them reverently. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Shepherdess by Alice Meynell, read for LibriVox.org by stepheather. May 24th, 2023, Bangalore, India. She walks, the lady of my delight, a shepherdess of sheep. Her flocks are thoughts, she keeps them white, she guards them from the steep. She feeds them on the fragrant height, and folds them in for sleep. She roams maternal hills and bright, dark valleys safe and deep. Into that tender breast at night the chastest stars may peep. She walks, the lady of my delight, a shepherdess of sheep. She holds her little thoughts in sight, though gay they run and leap. She is so circumspect and right, she has her soul to keep. She walks, the lady of my delight, a shepherdess of sheep. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Shropshire Lad 2 by A.E. Houseman, read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. Loveliest of trees, the cherry now is hung with bloom along the bough, and stands about the woodland ride, wearing white for Eastertide. Now of my 80 years and 10, 20 will not come again, and take from 70 springs a score, it only leaves me 50 more. And since to look at things in bloom 50 springs are little room, about the woodlands I will go to see the cherry hung with snow. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Solace by Clarissa Scott Delaney, read for LibriVox.org by Andrea. My window opens out into the trees, and in that small space of branches and of sky, I see the seasons pass. Behold the tender green give way to darker, heavier leaves. The glory of the autumn comes when steeped in mellow sunlight. The fragile golden leaves against a clear blue sky linger in the magic of the afternoon, and then reluctantly break off and filter down to pave a street with gold. Then bare gray branches lift themselves against the cold December sky, sometimes weaving a web across the rose and dusk of late sunset, sometimes against a frail new moon and one bright star riding a sky of that dark living blue, which comes before the heaviness of night descends, or the stars have powdered the heavens. Winds beat against these trees. The cold but gentle rain of spring touches them lightly. The summer torrents strive to lash them into a fury and seek to break them. But they stand. My life is fevered, and a restlessness at times, an agony. Again, a vague and baffling discontent possesses me. I am thankful for my bit of sky and trees, and for the shifting pageant of the seasons. Such beauty lays upon the heart a quiet. Such eternal change and permanence take meaning from all turmoil, and leave serenity which knows no pain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Song of the Open Road, 5, by Walt Whitman. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. From this hour, freedom. From this hour I ordain myself loosed of limits and imaginary lines, going where I list, my own master, total and absolute, listening to others and considering well what they say, pausing, searching, receiving, contemplating, gently, but with undeniable will divesting myself of the holds that would hold me. I inhale great draughts of space. The east and the west are mine, and the north and the south are mine. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness. All seems beautiful to me. I can repeat over to men and women, "You have done such good to me, I would do the same to you. I will recruit for myself and you as I go. I will scatter myself among men and women as I go. I will toss the new gladness and roughness among them. Whoever denies me, it shall not trouble me. Whoever accepts me, he or she shall be blessed, and shall bless me." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Ternarie of Littles upon a Pipkin of Jelly sent to a Lady, by Robert Herrick. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. A little saint best fits a little shrine, a little prop best fits a little vine, as my small cruse best fits my little wine. A little seed best fits a little soil, a little trade best fits a little toil, as my small jar best fits my little oil. A little bin best fits a little bread, a little garland fits a little head, as my small stuff best fits my little shed. A little hearth best fits a little fire, a little chapel fits a little choir, as my small bell best fits my little spire. A little stream best fits a little boat, a little lead best fits a little float, as my small pipe best fits my little note. A little meat best fits a little belly, as sweetly lady give me leave to tell ye, this little pipkin fits this little jelly. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Then Again, by Sam Walter Foss. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. "Jim Bowker," he said, "if he'd had a fair show, and a big enough town for his talents to grow, and the least bit assistance in hoeing his row, Jim Bowker," he said, "he'd filled the world full of the sound of his name, and climbed the top round in the ladder of fame. It may have been so. I dunno. Just so it might been. Then again, but he had tarnal luck. Everything went agin him. The arrows of fortune, they always had pin him, so he didn't get no chance to show off what was in him. Jim Bowker, he said, if he'd had a fair show, you couldn't tell where he'd come, and the feats he'd done and the heights he'd climb. It may have been so. I dunno. Just so it might been. Then again, but we're all like Jim Bowker, thinks I more or less. charge fate for our bad luck, ourselves for success, and give fortune the blame for all our distress, as Jim Bowker, he said. If it hadn't been for luck and misfortune and such, we might have been famous and might have been rich. It might be just so. I don't know. Just so it might have been. Then again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Though Lonely Here by Avon's Tide by Gerald Griffin. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Though lonely here by Avon's tide, I waste my cheerless hours, and see its silent waters glide by thy forsaken bowers. I'd rather bear the lasting pain that breaks this heart of mine, than pine beneath the golden chain that guilt has flung o'er thine. In dreams I deem thee still mine own, unsullied and unchanged, but morning shows the vision flown, and thee again estranged. Oh, when from some unheeding tongue I hear that once loved name, then my inmost heart is wrung to think upon thy shame. How lonely when I wake at dawn each silent chamber now! How joyless looks the sunny lawn! How droops each weeping bough! For though the noontide sun shine warm, all cheerless falls his beams, and lonesome now, without that form, the gay veranda seems. With sinking heart and thoughtful pace I pass our garden door, and mid the leafy stillness trace each haunt of rapture o'er. The scents that rise, the flowers that blow, the breeze that wanders free, my altered sense can hardly know, all breathe of death and thee. Ah, once I thought that mind was fair, and void of inward blame. Old age, I said, and hoary hair will find our hearts the same. Now soon, oh soon, the churchyard lone shall hide those cares from me. Ah, may that turf and cold grey stone rest lightly yet on thee, but not with old affection's slight and love's forgotten day. I charge thee in my song to-night o'er pleasures passed away. No, pledged on yonder sacred sod, thy vows were heard above, and thou wert falser to thy God than even to Edmund's love. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To Death, an Irregular Ode by Charlotte Lennox. Read for LibriVox.org by Karenza Sutton Bennett. O Death, thou gentle end of human pain, why is thy stroke so long delayed? Why to a wretch who breathes but to complain, dost thou refuse thy welcome aid? Still wilt thou fly the plaintive voice of woe, and where thou'rt dreaded only aim the blow. O leave, fantastic tyrant, leave, the young, the gay, the happy, and the free, on them bestow a short reprieve, and bend thy fatal shafts at me. The beauteous bride or blooming heir, let thy resistless power spare, and aim at this grief-wounded heart that springs halfway to meet the welcome dart. Still must I view with streaming eyes another and another morn arise? Are my days lengthened to prolong my pain? Do grief and sickness waste this frame in vain? A finished wretch ere youth has ceased to bloom, by early sorrow ripened for the tomb. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To a Dove by Nathan Covington Brooks. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Mourning amid the ruins of an ancient church. The fields have faded, the groves look dead, the summer is gone, its beauty has fled, and there breathes a low and plaintive sound from each stream and solemn wood around. In unison with their tone, my breast with a spirit of kindred gloom is oppressed, and the sighs burst forth as I gaze the while on the crumbling stone of the reverend pile, and list to the sounds of the moaning wind as it stirs the old ivy boughs entwined, sighs mournful along through chancel and nave, and shakes the loose panel and architrave, while the mouldering branches and withered leaves are rustling around the moss-grown eaves. But sadder than these, thou emblem of love, thy moanings fall, disconsolate dove, in solemn eve on my pensive ear, as the wailing sounds of a requiem drear, as coming from crumbling altar stone, they are borne on the winds in a dirge-like tone, like the plaintive voice of the broken-hearted o'er hopes betrayed and joys departed. Why dost thou pour thy sad complaint on the evening winds from a bosom faint, as if thou hadst come from the shoreless main of a world submerged to the ark again, with a weary heart to lament and brood o'er the wide and voiceless solitude? Dost thou mourn that the gray and mouldering door swings back to the reverent crowd no more, that the tall and waving grass defiles the well-worn flags of the crowdless aisles, that the wild fox barks and the owlet screams where the organ and choir pealed out their themes? Dost thou mourn that from sacred desks the word of life and truth is no longer heard, that the gentle shepherd who to pasture bore his flock has gone to return no more? Dost thou mourn for the hoary-headed sage who has sunk to the grave 'neath the weight of age, for the vanquished pride of manhood's bloom, for the light of youth quenched in the tomb, for the bridegroom's fall, for the bride's decay, that pastor and people have passed away, and the tears of night their graves bedew by the funeral cypress and solemn yew? Or dost thou mourn that the house of God has ceased to be a divine abode, that the Holy Spirit which erst did brood o'er the Son of Man by Jordan's flood, in thine own pure form to the eye of sense, from its resting place has departed hence, and twitters the swallow, and wheels the bat o'er the mercy seat where its presence sat? I have marked thy trembling breast, and heard with a heart responsive thy tones, sweet bird, and have mourned like thee of earth's fairest things the blight and the loss. Oh, had I thy wings, for a world of woe to the realms of the blest, I would flee away, and would be at rest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To the World, the Perfection of Love by William Habington. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. You who are of earth and cannot rise above your sense, boasting the envied wealth which lies, bright in your mistress' lips or eyes, betray of pitied eloquence, that which doth join our souls so light, and quick doth move, that like the eagle in his flight, it doth transcend all human sight, lost in the element of love. You poets reach not this who sing the praise of dust, but netted when by theft you bring the rose and lily from the spring, to adorn the wrinkled face of lust. When we speak love, nor art nor wit we gloss upon, our souls engendered and beget ideas which you counterfeit in your dull propagation. While time 7 ages shall disperse, we'll talk of love, and when our tongues hold no commerce, our thoughts shall mutually converse, and yet the blood no rebel prove, and though we be of several kind, fit for offense, yet are we so by love refined. From impure dross we are all mind. Death could not have conquered sense. How suddenly those flames expire, which scorch our clay. Prometheus like when we still fire. From heaven 'tis endless and entire. It may know age, but not decay. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Upon His Picture by Thomas Randolph. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. When age hath made me what I am not now, and every wrinkle tells me where the plough of time had furrowed, when an ice shall flow through every vein, and all my head wear snow, when death displays his coldness in my cheek, and I myself in my own picture seek, not finding what I am, but what I was, in doubt which to believe, this or my glass. Yet though I alter, this remains the same, as it was drawn, retains the primitive frame, and first complexion here will still be seen, blood on the cheek, and down upon the chin. Here the smooth brow will stay, the lively eye, the ruddy lip, and hair of youthful dye. Behold what frailty we in man may see, whose shadow is less given to change than he. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
What Do Poets Want with Gold by Archibald Lampman. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. What do poets want with gold, cringing slaves and cushioned ease? Are not crusts and garments old better for their souls than these? Gold is but the juggling rod of a false usurping god, graven long ago in hell with a sombre stony spell, working in the world forever. Hate is not so strong to sever beating human heart from heart. Soul from soul we shrink and part, and no longer hail each other with the ancient name of brother. Give the simple poet gold, and his song will die of cold. He must walk with men that reel on the rugged path, and feel every sacred soul that is beating very near to his. Simple, human, careless, free, as God made him he must be. For the sweetest song of bird is the hidden tenor heard in the dusk at even flush from the forest's inner hush of the simple hermit thrush. What do poets want with love? Flowers that shiver out of hand, and the fervid fruits that prove only bitter broken sand. Poets speak of passion best when their dreams are undistressed, and the sweetest songs are sung ere the inner heart is stung. Let them dream, 'tis better so. Ever dream but never know. If their spirits once have drained all that goblet crimson stained, finding what they dreamed divine only earthly sluggish wine, sooner will the warm lips pale and the flawless voices fail. Sooner come the drooping wing, and the after days that bring no such songs as did the spring. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Whiskey by William Henry Davis. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. Whiskey, thou blessed heaven in the brain, oh, that the belly should revolt, to make a hell of after pain, and prove thy virtue was a fault. Did ever poet seek his bed with a sweet phrase upon his lips, smiling as I laid down my head, pleased after sundry whiskey sips? I pitied all the world, alas, that no poor nobodies came near, to give to them my shirt and shoes, and bid them be of goodly cheer. A blessed heaven was in the brain, but ere came morn the belly turned, and kicked up hell's delight in pain. This tongue went dry, this throat it burned. Oh dear, to think last night the merriest man on earth was I, and that I should awake this morn to cough and groan, to heave and sigh. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Words by Amy Bonner, Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. So many shaded phrases to express subtle thoughts with finesse. Yet where were the words I forgot to say when you looked at me today? Such delicately chiseled phrases to understand. Yet it was enough that you took my hand. Words rising like songs to be heard. I came to you without a word. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.